12 o'clock GMT, and my name is Mami Kota Kwanyame. This is the AAU TV Midweek News. In our top stories: higher education, Sudan condemns drone strikes on Kordofan University. In health, Africa raises concerns over health data sharing with US. In business, COPEC projects fuel prices to rise slightly in March. In international, UN Security Council to meet on US and Israel strikes on Iran. Please stick with us for more news after this short break. We'll be right back. Now in Wa, Upper West region of Ghana, the Vice Chancellor of Dr. Hilaliman Technical University, Professor Hamidatu Daramani, announced on March 1, 2026 that the university has admitted 17 persons with disabilities for the 2025-26 academic year. This is the institution's first initiative to ensure people with disabilities have inclusive access to tertiary education, demonstrating the institution's commitment to equal opportunity through deliberate inclusive admission policies. University authorities say the move is part of broader efforts to remove barriers that have historically limited access to higher education for persons with disabilities.
The Vice Chancellor of Dr. Hilaliman Technical University in Wa, Professor Hamidatu Darimani, has reaffirmed the university's commitment to ensuring equal access to tertiary education for all students, regardless of physical ability. University leadership described this as a historic milestone. It marks the first time students with disabilities have been formally admitted into the institution. Professor Darimani emphasized that the move reflects the university's determination to promote fairness, diversity, and equal opportunity within its academic community. She indicated that inclusive education remains a key priority in the university's admission process. The development also highlights growing national effort to ensure that higher education institutions become more accessible to all segments of society. University officials say the decision not only expands educational access, but also strengthens social inclusion and empowerment. They add that the initiative represents a significant step forward in building an education system that leaves no one behind.
Meanwhile, Sudan's Ministry of Higher Education and Scientific Research has condemned a drone strike on the University of Kordofan campus in El Obeid amid the ongoing conflicts that began in April 2023 between the Sudanese Armed Forces and the Rapid Support Forces. The attack destroyed major university halls and caused significant structural damage, according to the ministry and the United Nations report. Authorities blamed the RSF, saying the strike forms part of a broader campaign targeting academic institutions across Sudan, particularly in Darfur and Khartoum, undermining access to education and worsening the humanitarian crisis. Rights group and academic experts warn that the continued targeting of universities threatens student safety, disrupts higher education, and may constitute violations of international humanitarian law.
The ministry blamed the Rapid Support Forces, accusing the group of deliberately targeting academic institutions. It said the strike destroyed some of the university's largest venue, including the halls of Kordofan and Gosh, causing extensive damage to critical infrastructure. The ministry described the incidents as part of a systemic pattern of attack led by the RSF against higher education institutions across Sudan. It stated that these actions were intended to undermine the stability of universities and disrupt access to education. Authorities further indicated that higher education institutions in several states, including Khartoum, has suffered widespread destruction. They added that the attacks represented not only damage to buildings, but also a direct assault on science, knowledge, and students' right to safe and stable education. A United Nations report confirmed that a drone strike hit the University of Cordovan campus, causing significant structural damage. Meanwhile, the Emergency Lawyers Association condemned the attack, describing it as an escalating pattern of strikes on civilian sites and warning that targeting universities violated international humanitarian law. Legal consultant and academic Dr. Mahmoud Dugdug said the destruction of universities in Darfur and Kordofan had devastated access to higher education in the region. He explained that students had been displaced, injured, and killed, leaving communities without critical educational opportunities. The ministry stressed that targeting academic institutions constituted a serious violation of national and international law. It's called on regional and international organizations to condemn the attack and support efforts to protect Sudan's education sector. Despite the destruction, authorities reaffirmed their commitment to rebuilding damaged universities and ensuring accountability for those responsible.
And now on the health front, concerns are mounting across Africa after the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention warned that bilateral health agreements being negotiated between the United States and several African countries could require nations to share sensitive pathogen and health data as a condition for funding. The deals pursued under the administration of Donald Trump are being implemented across multiple countries, including Zimbabwe, Zambia, and Nigeria. African health authorities and government are raising concerns that the agreements may compromise data sovereignty and fail to guarantee equitable access to vaccines and treatment developed and shared from data.
The Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Africa CDC, has warned that the deals could require African countries to share sensitive pathogen and public health data in exchange for funding. Director General Jane Kaseya cautioned that countries may be obliged to provide critical health information. He warned that this could happen without guarantees of fair access to vaccines, diagnostics, or treatment developed from that data. Several African governments have already pushed back. Zimbabwe has withdrawn from negotiations on a $367 million agreement. Authorities describe the proposed deal as unequal and raise concerns over the handling of sensitive national health data. Zambia also delayed signing this agreement. Officials there are reviewing provision related to data governance and access to national resources. Report indicates that at least 17 countries have signed similar agreements with the United States, securing more than $11 billion in aid. However, concerns remain that some deals include conditions beyond healthcare. These include regulatory control over new medicines and access to strategic national resources. Health experts warn that the agreement could affect Africa's control over its own data, medical systems, and future public health independence.
Please stick with us for Discovery News after this short break. We'll be right back.
Explore a whole new world of exciting visuals with AAU TV. Get ready for a mix of interesting talk shows, interviews, discovery documentaries, and news on AAU TV. It's not just about watching TV, it's about experiencing something special. AAU TV reaches over 25 countries in Africa, bringing you a blend of knowledge and fun. Learn about different cultures as you enjoy the shows. If you have events or want to showcase your business, we've got you covered. Watch AAU TV free-to-air channel on satellite. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter, at AAU TV. Reach out on call or WhatsApp us at +233 26 629 6601 or +233 20 399 5210. AAU TV, the voice of higher education in Africa.
Hello Africa is your live breakfast show delivering informative, entertaining, and energizing start to your day.
Our expert reviews break down the headlines and help you make sense of today's news.
We bring you nothing but the most interesting highlights on our top African stories.
Plus lifestyle features, inspiring interviews, and the best on the continent.
Every episode is packed with stories that inform, inspire, and celebrate the spirit of the continent.
Catch us live every Monday at 9 a.m.
And be part of the conversation on our social media platforms.
Hello Africa, bringing the continent to your morning.
Welcome back from the break, and now in Discovery, Senegal, Vodafone and Amazon have signed a major agreement to use Amazon's low Earth orbit satellite broadband network known as Amazon LEO to expand 4G and 5G connectivity in remote and underserved areas across Europe and Africa. The partnership, announced as part of ongoing infrastructure expansion efforts, will begin connecting mobile base stations in Europe before expanding into Africa through Vodacom, with the first site expected to go live in 2026. The agreement aims to improve network coverage, strengthen resilience during emergencies, and reduce reliance on costly fiber infrastructure by using satellite technology to connect mobile towers directly to core telecom networks.
The partnership will use Amazon's low Earth orbit satellite network, known as Amazon LEO, to connect 4G and 5G mobile base stations in remote and underserved areas. This will allow Vodafone to deploy mobile infrastructure more quickly and affordably, especially in rural communities where fiber networks are limited or unavailable. The satellite system will also strengthen network resilience. This will ensure continued connectivity for emergency and critical services if fiber links are disrupted by flooding or other disasters. The technology uses a constellation of hundreds of satellites to deliver high-speed connectivity. It can provide download speeds of up to 1 gigabyte per second, enabling reliable communication even in isolated locations. Vodafone Group Chief Executive Margarita de la Val said the company was turning into space-based technology to connect more mobile sites and strengthen network reliability. She added that the satellite constellation would support Vodafone's ambition to provide fast and dependable connectivity for customers regardless of location. Amazon Devices and Services Senior Vice President Panos Panay said the partnership would help deliver fast and reliable broadband to communities where traditional infrastructure could not easily reach. He added that the collaboration would help connect millions more people across Europe and Africa. Vodacom Group Chief Executive Shamel Joseph said the agreement would allow the company to rapidly expand mobile connectivity across Africa and bring vital digital services to more people. The first satellite-connected mobile sites are expected to become operational in 2026, marking a major step toward closing the digital connectivity gap.
The Ghana Rugby Football Union participated in the 17th annual general meeting of Rugby Africa held on February 27 in Kampala, where delegates from 32 African member unions approved sweeping governance reforms, including a new constitution aimed at modernizing the administration of rugby across the continent. The meeting, led by Rugby Africa President Herbert Mensah, introduced changes to strengthen transparency, improve gender balance, and enhance regional coordination. Ghana's delegation, led by GRFU President Rafatu Inusa, attended to represent the country's interests and contribute to decisions shaping the future growth and governance of rugby in Africa.
President of the Ghana Rugby Football Union, Rafatu Inusa, led Ghana's delegation to the 17th Annual General Meeting of Rugby Africa, held in Kampala, Uganda. The meeting brought together representatives from 32 member unions to review policies and strengthen the future direction of the sport. The key outcome of the assembly was the adoption of a new constitution. Rugby Africa described the framework as designed to modernize its structures and align them with global standards in governance, sustainability, and accountability. The reforms include defining the size of the executive committee and introducing independent members with professional expertise. New members were also approved to promote gender diversity and strengthen leadership accountability. A regional structure dividing Africa into North and South zones was also introduced. This aims to improve coordination and support the development of rugby across different regions. Rugby Africa President Herbert Mensah, who chaired the meeting, stated that strengthening governance structures was essential to support the continued growth of rugby across Africa. Ghana Rugby President Rafatu Inusa reaffirmed Ghana's commitment to supporting the development of rugby on the continent. Ghana's participation comes amid ongoing efforts to expand rugby development, promote inclusion, and strengthen the sport's presence both nationally and across Africa. President of the Ghana Rugby Football Union, Rafatu Inusa, led Ghana's delegation
Heritage with audiences worldwide, from the 1960s golden era of highlife to the modern revival of Afrobeat and African funk. Taylor has blended traditional Ghanaian rhythms with jazz, funk and Afrobeat influences to create a distinct sound that appeals across generations and continent. Recognized as Ghana's most influential music ambassadors, his career has helped put Ghanaian music on the global stage, a feat unmatched by any Ghanaian artist since independence.
Ghana's musical legacy has reached audiences across the globe. A few have carried it with as much impact as Ebo Taylor, a pioneering figure in the high life and Afro-funk. Taylor's career spans more than 6 decades. He has become one of the most respected ambassadors of Ghanaian music worldwide. From the golden era of high life in the 1960s to the 1970s to today's global resurgence of Afrobeat and African folk, his music continues to reflect the soul of Ghana. By blending traditional Ghanaian rhythms and jazz, funk, and Afrobeat, Taylor has crafted a unique musical identity. His sound resonates across generations, bridging cultures and continents. Ebo Taylor's enduring influence has made him a symbol of Ghanaian music on the world stage, inspiring artists and audience alike. Through his work, Ghana's rhythms, melodies, and stories continue to travel far beyond the country's shores.
Up next is business news. Consumers in Ghana should expect slightly fuel prices in the first pricing window of March 2026, according to the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers. Petrol prices are projected to rise up by 3.6%, diesel by 1.5%, while liquefied petroleum gas may drop by 1.6%. The adjustments are driven by global crude oil prices increases and changes in international free on-board prices, despite a slight appreciation of the cedi. COPEC urged oil marketing companies to exercise restraint and avoid overburdening consumers, noting that the prices at pumps are expected to remain within a controlled range.
The Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, also known as COPEC, says petrol is expected to rise by around 3.6%. Diesel is projected to increase by 1.5%. Meanwhile, liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, may see a small decline of just under 1.6%. COPEC explains that The changes are linked to movement in global crude oil prices and international free on-board rates. Petrol's international price rose from $652.64 per metric ton to $685.27, while diesel increased from $695.94 to $711.8. The cedi's slight appreciation, around 0.24%, offset only a small part of these increases. As a result, petrol at pumps is expected to sell between 11 and 13 Ghana cedis per litre, and diesel between 12.7 and 14 cedis per litre. LPG is projected to sell between 11.5 and 12.7 cedis per kilogram. COPEC urged oil marketing companies to exercise restraint and keep price increases moderate. The chamber stressed that these adjustments, through marginal, highlights the sensitivity of local fuel prices to international market changes. Consumers are therefore advised to plan for slightly higher cost at the pump in the first week of March.
On the international front, the United Nations Security Council scheduled an emergency meeting to address recent joint strikes by the United States and Israel on Iran. The meeting, requested by Bahrain and France, took place at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 9 p.m. GMT. The strike have drawn international concerns, with China calling for an immediate halt and a return to negotiations. Oman's foreign president urged the U.S. to guide further escalation, while UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres condemned the use of force and called for a ceasefire to restore regional peace and security.
The United Nations Security Council has called an emergency meeting to address recent strikes by the United States and Israel on Iran. It aims to discuss the escalating tensions and chart a path toward regional stability. China has expressed deep concern over the attacks. The Chinese government called for an immediate halt to military actions and a return to negotiations. It emphasized that Iran's sovereignty, security, and territorial integrity must be respected. Oman's top diplomat, Foreign Minister Badr al-Busaidi, urged the United States not to escalate the conflict. He warned that the situation should not draw the U.S. further into a war with Iran. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres condemned the strikes and Iran's subsequent retaliation. He said that the use of force undermines international peace and security. Guterres called for an immediate ceasefire and urged all parties to return to negotiating table. The Emergency Security Council meeting focused on restoring dialogue and preventing further escalation in the region.
A quick look at our top stories. Sudan condemns drone strikes on Kofadan University. In health, Africa raises concerns over health data sharing with US. In business, COPEC projects fuel prices to rise slightly in March. UN Security Council to meet on US and Israeli strikes on Iran. Thank you very much for sticking with us on the AAU TV Midweek News. Get interactive with us on our dedicated news platforms on social media at Association of African Universities. My name is Mamiukwa Otoakwanyane. See you next time.